Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of the She Rises live speaker series. I'm Kelly Boyer. I'm your host, and I am founder of She Rises and also the founder of She Rises Foundation and a mentor for women through my Clarity Method. And I am super excited to have all of you here. As you know, the heart of She Rises is to really help women rise into their feminine leadership, to really trust their intuition, and just create meaningful change, not only in their own lives, but in the communities that they serve. So these conversations are definitely a space for that. It is a space for awakening, where we bring voices that remind us what's possible when we lead from truth and just support one another. And today's guest, Dr. Lisa Thompson, does just that. She helps awaken your highest potential through multidimensional healing, science, and galactic wisdom. And today's topic, awakening to your multidimensional self, couldn't be more aligned with what we are collectively doing, which is a call to step forward and fully express ourselves without any fear. So settle in, open up your hearts, and we are going to dive right in. Lisa, I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for wanting to be a guest. I know that we're going to have a fun time with what we're going to talk about, and oh, I can't wait. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, Kelly. It's great to be here with you and all those that are live with us.
Yes. Oh, yes. A huge thank you to everyone who is joining us today. Uh, when there's a lot of people that show up, I'm like, I always think it's divine time. It's like a divine time thing that we are definitely going to talk about stuff that people need to hear about.
Mm.
So we're, so y- I'm really interested in your multidimensional healing. I feel like that's really important, especially right now, um, because I think it's important for people to really understand how multidimensional they really are.
Yeah.
So I would love, oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
Oh, no, I'm
Oh,
just agreeing with you.
oh,
Yes.
awesome. Yes, like we are such beautiful, powerful beings. And I think it's really important that we are healing on more than just, I'm going to say, kind of the surface layer. So I would love for you to just kind of talk to all of us about what does it mean to awaken to our multidimensional selves and why is it so important right now?
So, first of all, what does it mean even to be multidimensional? So, from my perspective, at the quantum level, all timelines are existing simultaneously. This means that we have infinite versions of ourself, not only as this like earth human reality. So, Lisa has many like infinite potentials as this earth Lisa. But then what I've come to discover over the last several years is that I've been able to tap in to different parallel lives that are even not of this earth. Some are of this earth, but most of them are beyond earth. And what that has done for me is that when I really have become to acknowledge that, oh, I do have this aspect of myself that is a master healer from the Arcturian realm, as just one example, then I've been able to channel that energy and that information from that realm down here to me as Earth Lisa. And what that's done
Mhm.
for me and my clients is it helps to heal my body, but it also then creates an environment for healing to occur for my clients. And then it also propagates out into beautiful Gaia.
Mhm.
And so the more that we understand these different aspects of ourselves, that again, it could be something earth based, it can be something non earth based. But when we really can hone in these talent, skills, and abilities from these parallel realities, then this human life that we all came here to experience, we didn't come here to escape Earth. We came here to fully live it and play it, but it becomes even more fun, more enriched, and we're able to really elevate the collective consciousness, which a lot of us are here to do right now. And that's why it's so critical right now.
I love it. I'm like at the moment that you said parallel lives, I like my whole body got excited because I love to talk about that and experience that. And I love the fact that you are talking about how everything is happening simultaneously. Because I think that sometimes we get into the idea that they're really that oh, this is a past and this is the present. And I'm so sorry. Can everybody please be sure to mute? There we go. Sorry about that. I thought I got everybody muted. One snuck off. Okay, so to go back to what we were talking about, I think that I think that it is important for us to really understand all of that, right? So that number one, we can live and heal on a multidimensional level, but to understand that and I'm going to go back to how powerful that we really are, because I think that's another truth that we don't necessarily believe or embody, to be able to go to other lifetimes outside of Earth and bring forward those gifts into the here and now.
Yeah. So I would love to share just a little bit more about that if possible.
Yes, please do.
So what's so interesting is, I've got my ET guys back here behind me, and I myself, I've been an experiencer contactee my entire life, but I had to keep that side of myself hidden for like most of my life. I'm almost 53 in December. I'm going to be 53. And, back in the 80s when I had my first conscious contact experience, everyone thought that that was weird. If you talk about it, right, you're crazy, tinfoil hat wearing. And so I didn't know why I was having the experiences. And I learned very quickly, especially in graduate school, that I had to keep my mouth shut to be taken seriously. So it wasn't until I moved here to Hawaii. I live on the big island of Hawaii. And when I got here, that's when I fully was able to take off all the masks that I had been wearing in this 3D reality and really step into, okay, what am I here to do? Oh, I'm here to, be a galactic ambassador. And you want me to channel? And so I finally had worked through enough in my own like ego to be like, okay, what other people think of me is none of my business, because I cared for most of my life. Like what other people think of me is really important. Um, I really had major issues with that. And so once I was able to just be like, okay, yep, I'm here to be a galactic ambassador. Locally, they call me the UFO lady. And when I was what when they wanted to start channeling through me, um, number one, I quickly realized, okay, I'm just channeling myself from that realm. So then it became less scary. But then, and it wasn't really scary, but it was a much higher frequency running through. But then in 2023, they were like, okay, it's time to bring in some of your other groups. And what I realized, okay, these are just other aspects of myself. And all of these higher dimensional beings, no matter what realm or star system they are from, all of them, fifth dimension and higher, are bringing in the same kind of messaging for humanity right now. And for me, what it's done is completely transform my life, because from that higher perspective, when you understand that this really is a game that we're playing here on Earth, we all like we're the PhD level of Earth of of life coming here to Earth. And so I have my doctorate in biology. However, here we are. I'm doing my PhD again with Earth School and with some hard lessons that I've gone through. And so the culmination of all the multidimensional lives that I've lived, even just as this Earth, Lisa, all like I'm in my fourth career. I've had three husbands, two kids, multiple moves around the country. I've traveled the world, all the things. But then bringing in that other perspective from the higher dimensional realms, it's like, okay, polarity that we all experience, and we're in the height of polarity right now with politics and religion and the wars and all the things. And really, from the higher perspective, what all of these beings are saying is that that is simply a mechanism of evolution. And so, we come here to experience some of the hardships because that helps us really rise. Your she rises. We're
Mhm.
here to be the rising phoenix. If we're in the muck, and I have been in the muck multiple times throughout my life, and the most recent was 2 years ago when my husband committed suicide, which maybe we can talk about because that relates to fully pushing me onto my timeline here of being this full galactic ambassador without any kind of hiding anymore. But really, like when we understand that we are more than just this one human life, and there's nothing to fear with death. The physical body, this is just a costume we're wearing, the energy, it doesn't ever die, the soul doesn't die. And so when we understand that and really embody it, then life can become more fun. We can actually then start consciously creating our reality and playing this avatar even better than when we're just going through life very unconsciously, which a lot of people are on just autopilot. And nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. No judgment at all.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I love that you brought up polarity. It was just a few weeks ago, because every morning I sit in silence and just connect, and sometimes I have questions, but I love that you said that they're bringing the same message because I received the same message, and just to real brief, it was talking about how Earth really is, like you said, it's like the PhD level. It is the ultimate place to learn, which is why we're so protected
Hmm.
too. I just wanted to throw that out there, but I was channeling that Earth was designed for polarity, for conflict, and it is to help us in that expansion and really shed, everything that we think we are, to what it is that we really are. So I just wanted to say that because I had been getting the same messages about Earth itself, and that we are really here to do, all of us are here to do big things. And I think it is absolutely beautiful. Sometimes when I talk about polarity, people are like, "Oh," and I'm like, "No. Polarity is just an integration of both sides and a way of creating harmony, to align with that harmonic resonance that we're all connected to." So I love that you brought it up. If I can, and it sounds like you kind of did open it up to talk about the passing of your husband, and it really pushing you onto this timeline that you're currently on. Is that correct?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
Would you like to share more about that? And just
Yeah.
because I love, not, I'm sorry about your husband, but like, I think that sometimes we need to understand that things do happen so that
Mhm.
we can step into our highest way of being, and the people that we work with choose that so that we can come here to do what we're meant to do.
Yeah, thank you. And this is something that, so for the last couple of years, I've been doing some major processing and
Mhm.
understanding, trying to get information about, okay, like why did this really happen? What was the soul contract agreement? What's going on here? Because when I met him, so he was my third husband. And prior to him, I had gone through two very toxic marriages, but prior to that, like just a series of toxic relationships.
Mhm.
And so when I was married to my second husband, I realized, okay, I got to get out of this. And when I came out of it, I'm like, I'm the common denominator here.
Yes.
So I keep attracting these same toxic relationships. And so let's do some deep dive healing. Well, so I did that. I did, a lot of different healing techniques and tools and things that I've learned throughout my life. And I was working with a coach. And I got to a place where I did rediscover. because we never lose it, but I rediscovered my self-love, my self-worth. And from that place, then I met Skip, my third husband. And with him, it was the kind of support and love that I hadn't experienced in any of my other relationships. And at this point, like I'm in my early 40s, and but I also, even though I was spiritual, I hadn't started my spiritual business. And so this is going to be part of the whole story of leading up to understanding, because we met in the real estate industry. He was a mortgage banker for Wells Fargo. I had an interior design home staging business. And we happened to meet at a realtor community service day. We were painting over graffiti in downtown Olympia, where we met and where I moved from Washington to Hawaii. Um, so we met, and a little windy journey for us getting together, but back in 2019, I wrote a book called Sacred Soul Love, which was about this deep dive healing that I had done with myself to then be able to meet him. And so that book shares my journey as well as then this little, okay, now I've met him and we got married. And so I thought, okay, we're good. That's I have my happily ever after. Well, so actually, so we got married in 2018, but in 2017, I had this calling, like this very strong pull. A couple of years before that, I had had a scientific hand analysis done, a little different than palm reading, but in my hands, and then the lady who did it, also did my kids' hands. We have a 1% marking in our hands to be spiritual teachers and leaders and healers. And when she told me that, like I was at the height of my design company at that point. I had employees. I'm like, what? But my body fully resonated of like, oh yes, this is what we're here to do. And so I just had to wait a couple of years to figure out I'm a sacral generator in my human design. So I had to
Uh,
wait for the right opportunity to come across my path. And so the first thing that came across that I had that full body, full gut, like,
Mhm.
yeah, we're doing this, was I met Denise Lynn and had an experience with past life regression. And so that was the very first modality I got trained in. So I got trained by Denise back in 2017. And even though Skip, he had some little spiritual inkling, but he was never like, oh my, like he was never really that spiritual. He just was open to it. But when this opportunity came, he was fully on board. Like, what can I do? How can I support you? Let's get you there to California to do this training. And so that was the start of this support. Like, even though he didn't understand it fully, he had that full support, that full backing. So then, um, we get married 2018, 2023. We go to Peru for 2 weeks, and there was already starting to be like there was something changing in him. We had moved to the island back in December of 2020, and part of that impetus to get here, his work changed because of the pandemic. It went virtual,
Mhm.
so he could live anywhere. But he had seasonal depression in Washington. So 9 months of rain and cloud. And he thought it was really just the weather. So we're like, okay, what can we do to get you into the sun? And we had a 10-year plan of snowbirding, but then pandemic sped that up. So we ended up moving here to the big island of Hawaii, and full year-round sunshine. He was active, he was out, and I was thriving. Like, I was meeting my spiritual soul sisters, and I had started my UFO tour business under my spiritual healing business. And he was not thriving as much, but he was still supporting me. Like he was helping me with the UFO tours. And what was interesting, though, is that I really wanted to speak to the spiritual side of the ET phenomena.
Mhm.
And because that's part of my mission. That's what I'm here to do, is to help be that bridge of understanding of us here as these earth beings. And we are not lower than these higher dimensional beings at all. In fact, they are like clapping us and cheering us on, like, yeah, oh, you're playing Earth School. Wow. And but he wanted me to stay to the 3D side of the ET UFO phenomena, science, disclosure, all that. And it's like there's a place for that, but it's just not my place. Like that's not what I'm here to share. And so there were little moments where I would say something and he wouldn't correct me or say anything on the tour, but we'd be driving home and he'd be like, I really wish you wouldn't say this. I really wish you would keep it in the box like this. He was so worried about what people were going to think of me and
Oh.
maybe what people were going to think of him by
Mhm.
being like so out there and being like, yeah, I communicate with ETs and I've got hybrid children. And, just, I mean, I'm fully out there now. And so he, though, was like, and so it got to the point where, I mean, I was actually in the middle of leading a galactic retreat, September of 23, and I had rented condos for all of us to stay in, but here in my neighborhood. And so I wasn't even staying at the house. And I was like, oh shoot, I forgot I need more eggs. And so I had to come back home and I discovered them. So that was in the middle of my retreat. But the next day, um, well, and actually that night after the whole thing of going through the trauma of the cops and all the
Mhm.
stuff, um,
Yeah.
I'm at the condo, laying in my bed, kind of starfished, and my team, like my full galactic team, this blue energy was just swirling all around my body and I'm vibrating and they were really helping. They were working on me energetically. And then the next morning I woke up and I'm out on the lanai. The ladies, they were over at the other condo giving me some space. And I'm just talking to the trees. And I'm like, really? It really had to be this like intense
Mhm.
for me to be on this timeline. And the message I got back was, yes, you had to be fully launched into this timeline and it couldn't stay the way that it was. And so that was really like I knew it, but my ego and Leeson's like, the love of my life just killed himself. What am I gonna do? And so now over the last 2 years, he's come through to me, but he's also come through like probably now 10 different psychic mediums sharing more information about like what happened. It was not anything to do with me. Like he really wanted me to make sure like you did nothing wrong. It was ultimately he couldn't hang in Earth School anymore. Like it was just too much for him and he couldn't support me physically in the way he thought he needed to for me to be on my journey. But the message that has come through every single one of them was that he can support me so much more from that other side, and that
Mhm.
he does. Like he's got way more powers from that spirit realm than he does,
Yeah.
in that physical form. And so even though that physical body has perished. The love is still there, the support. I mean, he's even like right away, and I'm like, I don't want to hear this now, but he's like, you need love, you need romance. It's okay to be happy sooner than later. And I think, people who lose someone very close to them, whether it is a spouse or a child, a sibling, or even a parent, it's like that their physical body, yes, it perishes, but whatever was going on in that human reality, it dissolves away. Like there's no more judgment or angst or like, if there was any kind of hard stuff going on, it all dissolves because then you want, like, they understand, oh yeah, we played this, we signed these contracts, we played these roles for each other. And so for for me, and again, I like, he was the love of my life up to that point. And I still, like, again, I'm almost 53 and I have another, hopefully, a good 50 years plus of life left. So it's like, okay, I'm not done. There's going
Mhm.
to be other potentials and things coming in. But yeah, just for people, anyone who's gone through that, just understanding that they come here and that's part of the lesson of Earth School. And that's part of their own soul journey as well. It's like they come here to experience their own reality. Everyone is on their own soul journey path, everyone. And so
Mhm.
even though, even like us as parents, we might want to control what our kids are doing, they're on their own journey. Everyone is. All we can control is right here ourselves.
Well, that is so true. Um, wow, that's a really deep experience that you had, but a very profound experience to share and inspire other people to understand that the physical isn't the end, when we cross over. I often used to say that when we crossed over, it's really like another beginning, like we finally are free to take what we learned here to be able to share that with, whether it's the humans here or in other places. So thank you for sharing that story. Believe it or not, I can relate a lot to what you're saying, because I have gone through a very similar experience as you. And I just want to say that I agree with you. Like they really can do a lot for us when they're not, trapped by their human body, because the human body is very limiting, but the consciousness is so limitless. And so thank you for sharing that story. And now, so let's kind of talk about, like, so now you are on this new timeline that you clearly had to be catapulted on, it sounds like.
Well, okay, I do. So I was on it.
Hmm.
However, there was limitation to being on it
Okay.
because again, in when he was here, and this is his words, not mine. I do, like, anyone watching, definitely his words, like, over and over, is that he was holding me back. He was like keeping me dragged down into the 3D reality. And part of that was because he was so into politics. He was so into like watching the news every single day and in this polarized reality. And what my higher dimensional team told me probably 4.5 years ago, they told me specifically I had to stay out of politics, stay out of anything polarized, really just create my own environment so that I can be clear and receive the messages from them and not get sucked into the matrix of Earth School of that polarized reality. And so, but with him being, you know, at in my house, and he ended up leaving the mortgage industry. He ended up getting into another industry, but the technology piece of that, um, the company was so outdated with their technology, it made his work twice as hard. So he would come home just angry. And so like there was a lot going on in terms of me being sucked back into 3D and just the emotions that he, again, from the other side, he's like, I was holding you back. You couldn't fully be doing what you're doing because I I wasn't letting you in a way. And I wasn't willing to just let him go in that way
Mhm.
either. Right.
Yeah. And you know, and it does it all. I mean, it all makes sense to me why I'm going to say why the two of you agreed to that contract because, you know, both sides have to agree to that as to that happening. So, you know, like I'm all the only comment that comes to my mind is like, wow, like, and and like I said, I feel like your story is so profound because I know that there are tons of other people that are going through this, and like that, you know, the question is why, you know, and I think sometimes the question that we have, and I'm going to tell you, I had that question, why did this happen to me? Why am I going through this? It was all about what was happening to me, but like when I finally switched that perspective to why did this happen for me? I feel like what you're sharing in your experience is a for you.
Yes, and what's so interesting too is that like I had a very different perspective on what abundance means. You know, abundance isn't just about how much money do you have in the bank. It's about how many beautiful relationships do you have in your life? Like how much food do you have in your pantry? How, you know, just even freedom of time, that's abundance.
Mhm.
And so that was one of my regular practices with the mentor at the time that I had been working with is like continually be grateful for all the abundance around you in all the forms. And he was so focused on the like monetary in the bank kind of abundance. And what's so, you know, back in Olympia, we lived well below our means, but Olympia, cost of living way cheaper here than Hawaii. And we both, you know, were successful in our careers and all that. And then we moved here to Hawaii. Things are like so much more expensive. And I was fine with that. I'm like, we're going to be fine. We're always fine. And he did not feel fine. And so, even just that piece, that mindset difference. And I'm just like, so from the other side, he was like, again, you're right. You're going to be fine. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I am totally going to be fine. And even being here in Hawaii, like having to be now a single earner household, as opposed to having the share of that with someone. It's been an interesting couple years, but I'm navigating it just fine. And it's like he, he the most recent one that he came through was psychic medium Lisa Williams. She's got a newer podcast where she will do readings for people. And so my best friend happens to be her personal assistant. So she's like, okay, come on the show. And especially since you've got past loved ones that will come through. And so Skip was telling her, yeah, Lisa's got the Midas touch and like I'm so proud of her. Everything she's doing is amazing. And so again, from that side, he's like one of my biggest cheerleaders, one of my biggest like spirit guides now. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So do you feel because you caught my attention by saying you talk about the spiritual side of ETs, which I think is really important for that messaging to be out there because a lot of times the information that we get is kind of more of the 3D side of it. Do you feel because obviously that was already happening before his passing? Where like I guess my curiosity is where do you feel that is now? Is that just like doors wide open?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, for sure. So what started happening, again, like I never planned to be a channeler. I grew up in a school that was taught by a channel descended master. So back in 1986, my mother and aunt and I moved from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma to Washington State to attend the Ramtha School of Enlightenment. And for anyone who's old enough to know who Ramtha is that channel descended master from Lemuria, time of Atlantis, channeled through Jay-Z Knight. And back in the 80s, channeling, it was like people thought, oh my God, that is so weird, right? And even me, I'm just like, okay, the information's good, but this is still kind of weird, my own like teenage judgment. And so I never thought that I would do anything closely related to that. But when I moved here to Hawaii and started my UFO tour, and my primary group that has come here to work with me are my Arcturians realm. But there are many others that come through, and especially with the healing in addition to the Arcturians. But those were the first ones, like spiritually and like really in my face. We're like, yeah, we're your family. You are us, we are you. We are all connected. And then I realized, okay, I'm meeting that aspect of myself. So I got to meet myself back in 2018. I didn't know it was myself until 2022. So it took a little while. But so when I started channeling, Skip was kind of like, oh, okay, just as long as you don't do that on the tours. And and then in 2023, when I brought through 13 of the different higher dimensional galactics, I was doing it here at the house. He'd be at work. And so he didn't really know what I was doing. And he never like he watched some of my podcasts that I would do, but otherwise he didn't really want to participate in any of my classes or my sessions or anything. And so actually my Wisdom of the Galactic series that was right before we went to Peru. So that was a few months of me doing these channeling sessions. So we went to Peru for 2 weeks, and that was in July. And then September, then he ends his life. And so then I ended up publishing those sessions Halloween of 2023. And so I don't know if I would have felt as comfortable publishing that with him still here. But what is very interesting though is October 31st or Halloween. That was our favorite holiday together. We loved getting dressed up, and we always had the parties, having fun. And so I'm like, okay, I guess, yeah, we're publishing
I love it.
on October 31st. Well, so what's interesting though is the new book, Through Loss and Delight. I just got my author copy yesterday.
Oh, yes.
So it's not available yet November 2nd, but when I was deciding on the dates, and my coach and friend Alyssa, she was helping me figure out what date, because we were looking at Mercury retrograde and all the things like, okay, we've got to make sure the actual astrology and numerology lines up. Well, the date that we settled on is November 2nd, 2025. And when you do the numerology on that, that is master number 22. And Skip's very favorite number his entire life is 22. His birthday was April 22nd, and 22 is always his favorite. So I'm like, oh, well, thank you, Skip, because he's the one back in May when I had that session with Lisa Williams. He came, she's like, I can't tell her what to do, but he's like, finish the book, finish the book. So I'm like, well, if I finish the book, you better be helping guide me with it.
And he sure did. Oh, I love it. Can you share a little bit about what the book is about, and just yeah, let us know so we know I want to, so that when on November 2nd, we definitely want to dive in and grab it.
Ah. Okay, so it's called Through Loss and Delight, a journey of grief, healing, and the love that remains. So, um, for anyone who has read my original Sacred Soul love book, this basically is then the continuation of that story of our relationship of getting married, and things were going well. We moved to Hawaii. Things are not so good for in a lot of different realms. he dies, and then my processing and understanding and connection, like almost immediately with him from the other side, because he, even within a week of passing, and one of the things I love my spiritual community because my friend and mentor, Sunny, she has a massive community where she got so many people on board with sending like healing energy to him to help him maybe process faster, in that afterlife realm. And so within a week, he came through my teacher, Lisa Holm, who I had taken a several-month course, psychic intuition course from her. And I'm like, is he ready to come through yet, Lisa? And she's like, oh my God, he's right. Yes. She was not expecting that. But so that started it. And then as I was opening up to experiencing him from the other side myself, rather than just through this external person, a psychic medium, then he was showing up in different ways. The weirdest, and I don't like using the word weird as a judgment, but most people would be like, ew. the, the one that was the most like, really, this is how you're showing up was probably a couple weeks after he passed. So again, I live in Hawaii. We have a lot of insects, and we have those really massive, giant cockroaches, flying cockroaches. We also have the little German kind that are the infestors that you'll find in kitchens. We
Mhm.
don't have that problem here at my house. But the flying ones, they will randomly, like in one, will fly into the house and then it'll end up upside down and basically dead. Well, there was this one within a several hour period. So the Ohana, which is like the studio apartment attached to my house, that was me and Skip's bedroom plus his office. And so that was still my bedroom, and it's got a bathroom. And in the bathroom, there were 9 of these massive, giant flying cockroaches just within a several hours, but they're all there. And I'm like, and that doesn't happen. It hasn't happened before that, hasn't happened since, but I'm like, what? What is going on with these cockroaches? And of course, and so, for years, I'm a zoologist, marine biologist. Animals come to me in signs and messages, and
Oh, okay.
cockroaches are an animal. And so I'm like, okay, there's a message here. And so I'm like Googling spiritual meaning of cockroaches because I'm like, this is definitely not coincidence. Okay, so if you think about cockroaches, they can survive anything, right? They can be in a microwave, they can survive nuclear war. Like they are the survivors and thrivers of this world. And so that was the big message to me was like, even though you've gone through this huge devastation, you will come out of this. You are a survivor. And so then I was like, okay, good message. Um, can we not send I got it. Can we can we not do the cockroaches anymore? And so what as soon as I acknowledged that meaning, then the cockroaches, they now only again come in the normal, like, oh, there will be one. And I'll be like, hi, Skip. What's interesting though, that the whole cockroach piece of this too, is that he went from being in the mortgage industry for like 28 years to he was a salesman home inspector for Terminix, a pest control company.
Ooh,
And
interesting.
so the fact that he sent the cockroaches, being in pest control, I'm like, that's Skip. That's totally Skip. There's no other way.
Right, no doubt.
No, and it had to be something so obvious that is
Mhm.
so unusual, like does not happen, right?
Mhm.
For me to pay attention to it, to be like, okay. And then, he came through with this smelly feet smell too, because they come in all different ways. And
Hmm.
so after working full days at Terminix, he'd take his shoes and socks off and I'd be like, oh my God, your feet stink. You need to go wash them. And so that's how he was telling me he was there too. And I'm like, okay, can we change the smell, please? Thank you for coming, but can we change the smell? And so when I asked that, then he changed it to the more familiar smell that was around him, which was weed. So then I would smell pot and there'd be no one smoking or anything. I'm like, okay, at least I can handle that.
Oh my gosh. Well, for the record, I don't find it weird. I find it I actually find it rather fun. Like he kind of I feel like he took the entertaining route where like I mean no doubt nine of those things is very much him kind of screaming loudly. I
Yeah.
love it. And and I think and I love that you say that because I think it highlights that on the other side, it isn't all serious and no play. Like laughter is such a high vibrational frequency of and and I love that that's what he picked.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And you're like, I just know that that is him.
Well, right. Well, and also, I mean, even though he's kind of like one of those types when he was alive that you would never know he was depressed. He was everyone loved him. He was always joking around, like always a smile, willing to help anyone. I mean, everyone loved Skip, everyone. They loved him way more than me because I sometimes tell it like it is too much. And he was like more of that people pleaser. And so he did have a great sense of humor, in his personality of Skip. And so that was coming through.
Yeah.
And then what's that? It's really just one more about how the animals were coming because
Mhm.
my mother then, so that was September of 23 that he passed. So my mother passed away February of 24 and my daughter's birthday's in July, so July of 24. I took my daughter and my son and I out on a snorkel trip for her birthday. And when we got to the one major bay where we were going to do the snorkeling, there were two bottlenose dolphins. So we've got spinner dolphins and we have bottlenose dolphins. Now, bottlenose dolphins don't tend to come in the bay. They're more deeper water, like riding the bow of the boat kind of thing. But these two bottlenose dolphins come in right next to our boat, right next to where we're in the water snorkeling. And my daughter, she's very intuitive and she's gotten on board. She's 19 now. She's gotten on board with some of like the spirit realm and stuff. And I'm like, that's Mom and Skip. She's like, I know. And um Skip's favorite animal was a dolphin. Like that was his spirit animal. So, you know, just again, and the dolphins, those specific dolphins coming in pairs, that's weird too. That's unusual. And so the fact that they were together coming into the shallow bay, very like out of the norm.
Yeah. Like I always say you cannot make this stuff up.
Right.
Like it's just you really truly can't. Like it really is like divinely created for you.
Yeah.
Like oh, that is so cool. Oh, I love that you're sharing this story and I can feel that there's just in sharing this story I can like I'm like in my heart space can feel that there is so much healing that is still going on and it's really rippling out for others. So,
Yeah. Well, oh, and
yeah.
because you had asked about the book, so I got off on that tangent.
No, no worries. Yeah, let's go back.
Okay, well, so we get through the part with Skip and the healing, and then because he was like, "Okay, you're gonna have new love,"
Mhm.
and so then the book goes into my journey of dating again, which
Mhm.
is quite interesting, and that whole process of having the love of your life, and then having these other people that are like, okay, you're an interesting, I see why, because he said, I will bring you your next one. And so the first few that I met, they all had loss. Like one had lost a son, another one had lost like a, some like a sibling, and like there was this theme. One had lost his dad. So there was this theme, and I'm like, okay, just because they've lost some, I get why you're bringing them to me. And, but just because they've lost someone and understand doesn't mean that they're my person. So now let's raise the bar. So I'm like, okay, if you're really going to help bring me someone, they need to be spiritual and galactic as well. Let's really niche it out.
Love it.
And so then after that, then there's someone that I talk about in the book named Isaiah that comes in, and he and I, we have this whole journey together. We're still on that journey, just not as like part, we're not significant others in the way that we
Gotcha.
were for several months. But we, like Skip and I, we had multiple lifetimes together. Isaiah and I, we have so many lifetimes together. And so it's just like this natural thing. And so kind of the cliffhanger of the book is okay. Um, right before I wrote the book, I had another reading from one of my other friends where we were looking at, okay, is it Isaiah or is it someone else? And it was coming up, well, it could go either way. And so here we are at this cliffhanger of like, is Isaiah going to rise to be my emperor, or is the new emperor going to show up and I go that direction? Either way, I'm still here and healthy and doing the work on myself,
Yeah.
honestly.
Oh, I love it. I think that's, and I like I'm a very spiritual person too, but I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in that world that we forget that there really is this whole other world outside of there that can connect with that. And so I think it's wonderful that that's where you're exploring. I love that you have a cliffhanger in your book. Oh, I'm like, I can't wait to see where that goes.
I know my editor, she's like, you have to keep me posted on what's gonna
Yes,
happen. She was like, this is
absolutely.
so, it's like, what? Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Um, are you ready and open to take some questions? Because there's some that are coming into the chat right now. We do have one from Caroline. She wants to know about your necklace.
Okay, well, this is one of my, well, it is probably my favorite piece. It's my signature piece. This is an Anandara crystal. So not everyone is familiar with Andaras, but they are of ET origin. They're similar to like obsidian, a volcanic glass kind of material, monatomic. So for me, this specific one, um, number aqua teal is my favorite color. That's my power color. But what I love about this specific piece is that when I'm channeling, the energy comes in through the back of my neck, down into my heart, green, out through my voice, blue. And so I'm speaking from my heart. And so this Andara helps me to always channel from my heart instead of up here. Because as a former scientist, it used to all be about this.
I'm like, I could see that. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I mean, it is really beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. She also had another question. She said, we've got a lot of questions coming in. I'm gonna ask this question from Caroline in the chat, and then Deborah will go to you, and then Dottie will come back to you. So her next question is, she says, I have daily rituals. She's curious as to what are yours.
um, so I do wake up and even though I don't, even I teach, write it down, but I wake up and I always think about what am I grateful for? And I try to start the day in gratitude because the more that I can come from that place, then my day flows much easier. And then another morning ritual, I like my coffee. It's still morning here. I got my coffee here. um, I there are other rituals, but they're not necessarily daily. So I do like running the my white light energy to help heal my body, to balance it out, to connect with my team. One of the pieces of information I got a couple days ago that I'm going to start implementing within a couple days is I'm going to have a daily channeling session. So
Mhm.
since Skip passed, I haven't been doing the active channeling the way that I was before he passed. And I've gotten information, like I'm so connected with my team now. It's not like I have to go into even the slight trance. I'm like, hey, and they give me the information. But an outside source asked me or said, try this. And so I'm going to try it and just see what happens because I know that there are other channelers talking about different things that are going on Earth. And so I think from the perspective of my team, who I'm bringing through, just the more information we can get, even if it's the same information from multiple sources, the better. And so
Mhm.
that's going to be one. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I agree because not everybody resonates with everybody. So I truly believe that's why a lot of people like we get the same messages for us to share to really connect with those people that resonate and connect with you. So I love that. So are you putting that out? How are you putting that out for people?
Um, it'll go out on my social medias. So Instagram, I'm galactic underscore Dr. Lisa Thompson, and then on Facebook, Dr. Lisa Thompson. So I'm gonna definitely put it out there. I don't know if I want to annoy my email community with daily messages. So we'll see. Because I am gonna like really make it a practice. Yeah, so social media is for sure where that'll go out. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so Deborah, you've had your hand up. So would you like to come off mute and ask your question or share a thought or
Yes, yes. Thank you for taking my call,
Mhm.
Lisa and Kelly, for doing this. I'm so excited. I know in my heart that I'm supposed to be channeling the galactic beings, and I just don't know who and if they have a message for me because
Okay.
it's so strong.
Well, so the main thing, we don't always have to know who we're channeling, like specifically. The
Okay.
main thing is it from a higher dimensional reality or is it a lower vibration that's trying to come in? Because there are a lot of entities that want to be channeled and they can trick people. And so really doing your own hygiene, your own spiritual hygiene of clearing out the gunk, raising your vibration, and only allowing yourself to channel when you are in a much higher vibrational state, then you can know whatever wants to come through you is also higher vibrational. And I've had my own personal experience where I had had a couple glasses of wine and this thing wanted to start channeling through me and I let it and it scared the shit out of my daughter. She's like,
Mm.
"Mother, never do that again." I'm like, "I won't."
Okay.
Okay, clear, clear, clear. And so there are people who teach channeling. And so I used to have a podcast, and one of my guests was one of my book publishers of a couple of my books. And she's been channeling Kuan Yin for like 20 some years. And I'm like, you need to teach a channeling class and I'll take it. Because, I tried it on my own. I bought books, but trying to do it on your own, um, it wasn't working for me. So anyway, so I took a class so that then I would learn how to do these different processes. And for me, that was a game changer. So I would recommend that. Um, for me, I knew also that the Arcturians, because I had met them in 2018, I'm like, okay, I know what that energy feels like. And so I knew that that was the first one that was coming through. And so you may intuitively get a hit on a galactic group. You know, a lot of people are very connected to the Pleiadians. You've got your Arcturians, the Lyrans, the Andromedans, the Mantis. I mean, there's a whole repertoire out there for you to tap
Mhm.
into. So it's just like, okay, it's more of the energy as opposed to it being specific. But one thing that I've learned, always ask, who are you? Because if you don't ask, they don't necessarily have to tell you.
Mm, okay, okay. Because I have your cards and I asked a question and 3 times the Lyrans, they showed up.
Okay. Well,
So, yeah. But I've had the Palladians come through too. So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
and as we talked about at the beginning of the show, we are all multidimensional. And so, you know, those cards, those are based on my different aspects of myself. So I have Lyran, I've got Pleiadian connection. I have I've got Zeta, I've got Reptilian. And
Um,
when it comes to reptilians, there are different races from different star systems resonating in different frequency. They're not all one race, just like the grays are not all one race. So I just want to say that real
I,
quick.
I'm glad that you
oh,
did.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there is a misconception that all reptilians are not good, and that's not true. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah, for sharing that and being brave to come off mute to do that.
Mhm.
Okay. So we've got Dottie. Dottie says, "Hi,
It's
Lisa."
actually Dodie. I know.
Dodie. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, and I didn't read the second part. It says it sounds like Dodie. My apologies, Dodie. Okay, so Dodie says, "Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing yourself. I'm wondering how you navigate all the challenges without feeling like a victim." That's a really good question.
Years of practice because I can tell you when I was married to my first husband, I was a major victim mode. He was very abusive and I was definitely playing the major victim role. He was the tyrant. And then when I came out of that, I was like, oh, that was another soul contract agreement. Thank you. And so what I got out of that experiment going into the second husband of not abusive but controlling and not accepting me, I'm just like, okay. Yeah, I'm the common denominator here. I signed up for that. I signed up for that. I signed up for that. And okay, so how did I finally wrap my mind around it of not being the victim all the time is that I'm like all of these experiences that I have created or come here to play Earth School with, these hard lessons, I did that so that I could actually be an even more compassionate human coming from love and empathetic human. Because in my early life, I didn't understand people. Like, I wanted to work with animals. I didn't want to work with people. Number one, people hurt you, but I'm just like, people, no. And now I have so much love and compassion for people because of what we choose to come here to do. And so by me going through those experiences and coming out of it even better, then I'm like, oh, thank you, opportunity. Thank you, person. And then when I go through the next hard thing that I think is hard, and what's so interesting is that even the morning that Skip passed, I was talking to my ladies on the retreat, and I'm like, oh, I've been through some really hard lessons. I'm hoping I'm done with this. And then that happens. I'm like, okay, well, yeah. But it really, I think when we understand it from the higher perspective, again, that this is just one of many, many infinite lives that we're living. We come here to play different roles for each other. So I've been the tyrant to someone who's being my victim, right? we're here to play it all and experience it all. So that's how I've been able to come at it. But it took years for me to not be a victim.
Oh, that was a great question. And then she also commented that that the information, and I'm assuming that you've shared so far is great information, and she said that makes so much sense. And that came in as you were talking about,
Yeah.
as you were answering her question.
Thank you, Dodie.
All right, so we have, I'm so sorry if I say your name wrong. It is Katarzina?
Katarzyna, it's Katarzyna.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So she says, "Hi Lisa, ever since the BTO, I am using your morning meditations. They do calm me down and give me a positive start to my day, for which I do thank you. Do you have an immediate message channeled for me that would serve all of us today?"
The message that always wants to come through for you and everyone here listening and at any time, like this, it's so important for everyone, is that again, because we do have these simultaneous timelines existing right now, what we are currently putting our attention on, and things are speeding up, like manifestation is becoming faster and faster. And so it's even more important for us to become conscious creators of our reality, because if we're putting our energy over here where it's like bringing our energy lower and we're just like, it's an external focus, as opposed to coming back to ourselves and where our own personal energy is, and keeping that in a as high a vibration as we can, that's going to put us into these different timelines. And so, what Kelly's here to do, what I'm here to do, we're here to help raise collective consciousness to really get humanity into more of that fifth dimensional timeline, as opposed to staying back in the polarized reality. And so I would say just really curate your environment as much as you can. That means what you're consuming in terms of food. And I've actually been going through a major transformation in my body where I've had to revamp what I'm putting into my mouth. My body had a total freak out a month and a half ago. And most of what I was able to ingest, my body's like, no more, we're doing this reset. So I might be able to go back to those things, but I've been doing this whole detox. So what you're consuming, what you are watching, what you're listening to, what's your social media, who is in your environment, like what people are you allowing into your space? Because Dodie, speaking of victims, I had a couple friends that here on the island that every time I get together, complete victimhood, complete. And I'm just like, I can't be in this energy anymore. I love you. I love you, but no, I can't. And so we're allowed to have boundaries for ourselves and really, where your thoughts are, what's going on in your environment. And it's a multidimensional environment. So just really do what you can to be here. Much
Thank
love.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for the question. Uh, does does anybody else have any questions or any thoughts or anything that they would like to share? You can put it in the chat or you can come off mute. Oh, go ahead, Caroline.
Hi, beautifuls.
Hi.
Whoops. Where am I? Hang on. Who am I? Where am I? So this,
Caroline, I have to say this.
yes,
Every time I see you, you are always in the car.
right?
I love
It's
it.
it's that time of the day. I'm in my spaceship. Let me lower the hand here. So it's not so much of a question as it is um, a wondering. Um, so I've been doing my own thing for over 22 years, right, in service. And how are they helping us? Like I have a lifetime Hadarian, which is what's really prominent in me right now. And I feel their love and I feel the love and I guess I'm just thinking, like, can they help with cancer? Can they help with menopause? Can they help with human stuff that the humans are going, giving them a kinder heart so we, clear the war so we can, is there anything that's going to be cleared by being assisted from our other life on other planets and on, from our other lifetimes that are here to assist us?
Okay.
I know that makes sense, so I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
I feel like it makes sense to me, so hopefully I can speak to what you're asking and wondering about. So kind of like what I just shared to our prior
Mm-hmm.
Katarzyna,
Mm.
if that's her name. So really, the more that we can ask our team to help us, and we're clearing out our own emotional stuck trauma, we are healing our bodies, we're raising our consciousness, our vibration, then what that does is it naturally, our environment around us will naturally rise to that higher vibration, and our team cannot go against our free will. Even our angels, none of our spirit team, they can't go against our free will. So we always need to ask for what we desire. And there are going to be different beings whose job it is for that healing, for the thing that you might need. So if it is a health issue, there might be a whole different team than someone who is more for maybe the abundant piece or for helping you find things, for instance. And so for me, I don't necessarily need to know whose job it is. I'm just like, team, big team, all team, whoever's job it is, please help me with this. So for me, I leave it open to that. Now I know, like with my specific healing modality, the Arcturians, Syrians, and Mantis are the three that come in for that work. But when it's for my own personal life, it's like, okay, whoever's job it is, Skip, get on it, or whoever, like my galactics, my angels, my fairies, whoever it is. And really, they're here for us. We have support around us all the time. We are never alone. And that was one of the things that I really, like, I knew it, but then I really got to know it at an even more intense level when my husband passed and was always there and showing me signs. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're so there, I know the rest of my team is there. Right. And again, when we ask, then that's when the magic can happen. And in terms of like the health thing, we have to maintain that environment. Because even like when you come to a healer like me or anyone else, we are not healing you. We are creating the environment to put your body into a state that it can heal itself, right? Because we all have that beautiful ability. So even when your team, like let's say they're doing work on you, either in your bed or they take you onto a ship or whatever, they're putting you in that environment. But it's your job to then maintain that kind of environment that can create that healing effect, from my understanding.
Thank you so much. Yes, yeah, I agree with everything. Yeah. I also, when I go to bed at night, I imagine that I am laying on a med bed as well. And I tell my clients to do that as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. It's amazing, like what we can do when we ask and when we're just like, okay. I mean, really, like our minds, like whatever we can think of, whatever we can imagine, that is real.
Mhm.
It's all real. So if we're imagining ourselves on a med bed, then we are.
So I
Thank you.
I have a comment. Caroline, I did not know that you are Hadarian. So am I.
Yes. Yeah.
So there is not a whole lot of us around. We scattered all over. But if it's okay, if I could share. So I do understand the question that you're asking. I think Lisa, I think you answered it very well, but the moment that you said that you're Hardarian, like we are very powerful healers, and that comes from love. And I'll share with you, if that's okay, what I do when I'm kind of in that state. I connect with all of the other Hadarians, and I'm very clairvoyant, so I can see it all happening and coming together. And oftentimes when I'm sending healing to somebody else, that I'm going to say that is the circle or the container that I put them in the middle of. So, I mean, there's so many different ways to heal, but I'm like, our hearts are about healing healing humanity, healing the planet, like just healing the cosmos in general. So you are so supported. And I really believe you could put anybody in the middle of that. So, I just wanted to share that with you. Um, because like I said, I do believe that even though sorry, now I'm getting into this after kind of the like I'm all the destruction of our world. I do believe that we scattered as a means to bring like that really potent, powerful healing and love, like not just here, but I'm like everywhere throughout the cosmos. And what's the best thing to do? You call them in and say, this is what I need, or this is what so and so needs, So, and I 100% believe in the healing that comes from that. So, um, I'm
And
like,
it's like she said too, they can't go against our free will,
yeah.
right? So I know I mentioned cancer, like I mean we all have cancer in ourselves, but um if a few cancer losses and a sister-in-law right now that and I do exactly that, right? I bring in my team and but as I think that was the main I'm getting that's the main reason I was asking that question is, like we can't, even though we are beautiful, powerful healers, we can't heal everyone. It's their journey
It
to,
is.
right? Yeah, we have to accept that radical acceptance as well, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and that was one thing that was really clear that Skip said again from the other side. He's like, there's nothing anyone could have done. Nothing. He was on his own journey and he stayed longer on Earth than he had planned because of me. Like he's like, you saved me multiple times. But he's like, expiration date, done.
And also too, maybe it's about what redefining what healing is. Like we think that when we send healing, that's like we're going like we I'm gonna say logically, I feel like oftentimes it comes out as like we're going to cure them. Healing could just be bringing comfort, right? And like I agree with Lisa, like everybody's on their own journey. So if it is time for someone to exit, they're going to exit. But to me, when I think about healing, I think of it like I believe that the reason that healing is so incredible is not because we can quote unquote cure, it's because it is full of love. And and however they take in that love, is it going to be exactly the way that they need it? And I just trust that it's exactly what they need. Um and to me, when I think of healing, I think of just pure, unconditional source creator love. Like there is just nothing better than that. So I'm sorry to hear about some like your losses. And you said what your I think you said your sister-in-law is going through right now. But I like you and I have done work. We've been together. So you have that beautiful, I'm gonna say love that I bet that she needs more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with all of us. Okay. So Dodie did comment again, and she said that is the hard part. We want to keep them around longer. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're always with us. And when we go back to the spirit realm, they're there. Like they're
Mhm.
always there. And then we tend to come in soul families, soul groups. So then we play different roles for each other.
Mhm. We sure do. Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for just being here and for sharing and being vulnerable because I know that some of the topics we talked about are very vulnerable. So thank you so much for being courageous enough to come off mute or even share in the chat. So, Lisa, you so graciously have provided, I always call them gifts, a gift for donation. Um, which is means so much to my is so much to my heart. So as just so that everybody knows, all of our speakers are always so kind to graciously gift a donation gift for the nonprofit for my nonprofit, which is She Rises, Amplify and Thrive Foundation. I'm like, everything is about She Rising. I'm like, let's do this. But it really is about all of us coming together and supporting one another, just really helping women step, I'm going to say, back into our feminine power. I believe we've always had it. I don't think we've ever lost it. I think that we just need to be reminded of that. And so, what that nonprofit is designed for is to raise money for scholarships, for whether that's for school, coaching, whatever it is that they're needing, even if it's to help support even something that might be medical. It's all about just helping women rise up. It could be, again, like I said, for education, it could be for startup funding, to get their gifts out there, whatever it is, you name it, that's what it is for. And I am so grateful because every time I do one of these, um I get like, it's almost like I get to do another scholarship. So I'm so incredibly grateful to everyone. So just so that you know, 100% of all those proceeds go to the nonprofit. They don't go anywhere else, to the nonprofit to be used for those purposes. So Lisa, you graciously donated the Multidimensional Self, A Journey into Quantum Alignment. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that? So when people
Yeah.
donate, they know what they're receiving.
Yeah. So this was a class, a 4-part series that I taught. So each session is a good hour, maybe a little longer, where so there are 4 different parts to it, and it's all about clearing out our own judgments of ourselves, the shame, the guilt, the perfectionism, clearing out the trauma, because the more clear we are, then we can start listening to our own intuition. We can connect with all of our higher dimensional guides. And then we can actually start shifting to a reality where we're living our highest, greatest timeline and understanding our true multidimensional aspects of ourself. And so this course, when I taught it initially, was $127. And so this is a 4-part series videos, the full class of me teaching, but then it's each journey has a beautiful meditative guided thing to really help you do all of what I just talked about. And really coming back to your heart. I love what you and Caroline were saying, Kelly, about like this heart-based healing. And that is really what I'm here to do too, is like get everyone back into their heart. Let's all come from our heart, from our love space, and live from love. And in that, then we are raising the consciousness and each other. And so, yeah, so I'm very happy to donate that.
Thank you. That is an amazing gift that you offered to donate. Um, for the nonprofit. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So all of this is in Lisa's speaker in her speaker center. If you go on the website, you go to calendar of speakers, you'll find her. It is in there. Also, the replay will also be included in that. They stay up indefinitely. I'm not taking any of them down because I believe that every episode has important information for everyone, and so I want it to stay up there so you can find her there. And Lisa, thank you so much for just sharing your story, and just getting out there and just sharing your messages and the stuff that you do. My heart is so grateful, and I appreciate having you here so much. I hope that you come back again.
Well, I totally want to come back again. And yeah, and my new book comes out November 2nd, Through Loss and Delight, and that'll be available on Amazon, Kindle version and paperback. And there's a free gift related to grief with that, thelovethatremains.com. And then if you go to awakenactivatenow.com, there's another free gift as well.
Thank you so much. And a huge thank you to everyone that joined us today. It's always so amazing to see everybody show up to support our amazing speakers and just this platform, because if it wasn't for you, Lisa, and everybody else that was here, I would not be able to do this. So I have so much gratitude in my heart for each and every single one of you and everybody that will also catch the replay. Huge thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa, just for your time and your wisdom and everything that you shared today. And again, to everybody else that is on this call, just being here with your presence is more than anything I could ask for. So thank you. And join us next week on Tuesday, because I did open it up to also Tuesdays now, at the request out of so many requests. So I'm so grateful. I don't even know how to take it in. I'm just like, oh. So we will be back Tuesday with another amazing guest speaker. I hope all of you join us. And until then, everyone, so much love from my heart to yours. Have an amazing weekend.